Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet again another episode of Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. Hanging with my boy Pinky. How you doing, my guy? Tuesday, November 29th.
Man, it's cold out there, bro.
It's cold. It's cold. That's why we have such great sustenance to warm us back up.
Oh, man. I took my daughter to jiu-jitsu tonight. Walking to and from the car was like, woo, just get you, bite you.
It's cold. It's cold. It's not very often we have these types of colds in Colorado. So we feel it.
You know, it usually just kind of comes in for a day or two. Thankfully, it doesn't stick around. Which is why I can wear shorts, you know, mostly year round.
You do that.
There's a couple days I might be like, ooh, that's cold enough to throw pants on. But it's pretty rare.
Things happen, and so be it.
How'd the holidays treat you, my man?
Holidays were good. Had the fam over from out of state for Turkey Day and celebrated my brother's B-Day on the same day as Turkey Day. So got that out of the way, and it was a good time. And then got to hang out with you Friday. Got you to come and watch the World Cup game with me with England. Tai 0-0. Good game overall, but they had their opportunities that they just couldn't quite capitalize on. But did that, and then watched the Huskers win somehow magically, and then Saturday it was announced we had a new head coach right away, and I'm on the fence about that. No, don't quite know if I feel good or bad about that hire. So, and Sunday there was some football, and back to work on Monday, and I get to hang out with you tonight. So not too shabby. How about yourself?
Oh man, it was a long week last week. Thankfully, did get to watch some soccer. I think I had more fun talking to your mom than I did watching the game. But,
well, at least you enjoyed yourself.
It was fun. I mean, it was fun. Meeting your family was good time. Good people. Sports people, which was good.
Yes,
you don't see a lot of families get together and watch a game and comment and react, and that's just good. That's just a good feeling.
Yeah, my family's hanging out together. There's a game on. So like Saturday night we had Michigan Ohio State on. Or Saturday morning, I guess, really.
Yeah, that was morning. That was early.
Saturday night, but Saturday morning we had that game on. So yeah, my family is very much about the sports. So, I am a product of that environment, to say the least. Did see Black Panther actually as well. So, meh.
I thought it was okay. I don't think it's great.
But I mean, honestly, I thought the first one was okay. I didn't quite understand the big fuss about it being one of the best Marvel movies, if not the best. I think it's a good movie. I don't think I'd say it's the best. The second one was, I think, slightly worse. It's just above average, maybe. Like, it's not a great movie. It was entertaining, but
it's above average.
Yeah, above average. I'll agree with that. It just I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. It just doesn't quite captivate me.
I didn't
and I like the Black Panther too. Like, I like the character. I don't know what it is about the movies that I'm just not.
Well, I nitpicking it. I didn't mind the storyline. Even the original script had Black Panther fighting Namor.
Sure, I don't doubt that.
Even the original script had that. I would have liked the focus to stay, or even maybe shift to, the United States, the world going to war with Wakanda and Atlantis, or not. Well, it's Tulakan or whatever it is, but I would have liked the focus to be more on that. And then, the Wakanda having to really dig deep on, are we going to join against, the world, or are we going to, protect the world? And I
That
don't think
seems like it's setting it up for the Namor movie, though, right? Like that's kind of the feeling I got, was all of that is going to happen in the Namor movie, and you'll get a little bit more of his backstory. But they kind of did a lot of that already, so I don't know.
and that movie's not scheduled till like 2025.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we'll have a bunch of other movies come out, but I mean, it was better than She-Hulk.
Yeah,
And
She-Hulk's
She-Hulk
not
was
very good.
entertaining. Like I didn't dislike it. Like for 30 minutes an episode a pop, it moved quickly and wasn't really bored, but like nothing really happened either.
But the best parts of the show were without She-Hulk.
Were they?
Well, like Daredevil, the Hulk, Wong. The stuff with Wong was hilarious.
Wong was really good. Wong's just fabulous. Anything
it was like
he
all
does.
the extra stuff that went around her, or even Abomination being like a hippie and it got his own like self-help camp, right?
Yeah, his own convent.
Even that was somewhat funny to me versus like what you got from actual She-Hulk.
And I mean, I like how they use that show to tie up a lot of other loose ends, kind of in a sense.
The last episode was really cool, though. I really enjoyed the last episode where they like completely break the fourth wall, and Kevin Feige's just the computer, and yeah, that was fun, but yeah, not the greatest show. I'm gonna watch. Marvel and Star Wars has my money.
So yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna watch them regardless.
What's the next one coming out? Do you know the next Marvel?
It's well, there's Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas.
Right, that's coming out on Disney Plus.
It's already out.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's already out.
I meant like movie, not like
I haven't gotten a chance to
stuff.
check it out yet. I believe Ant-Man is next.
Oh, Quantumania?
I believe.
Yeah, that looks like it could be pretty cool.
Oh, dude, Kang. I love Kang. He's one of my favorite villains from the comics. So I'm pretty excited about this one. Let's see. I don't know what I think that's the only one upcoming. They've only got like 3 for next year, I believe. But because Wakanda was the last. I mean, that one just came out, so that's that one kind of closed up phase 4.
I'm surprised they don't have anything coming out for Christmas.
Yeah, it's just the Christmas special. Ant-Man's in February.
Okay.
And then you've got Secret Invasion on Disney Plus in the spring. And then Guardians in May. Guardians 3 in May.
Okay. So there'll be a couple.
That's the last Guardians movie.
Yeah. So well, I mean, after what was done to them in the last Thor movie, there's probably a lot of people thinking that that's probably how it should be.
Yeah. This has not. Phase 4 has definitely not been. Well, it's like they're going a lot of by the end, things might be more clear, but at least what we've gotten so far.
Well, COVID changed a lot of things. They've really taken advantage of Disney Plus and done shows instead of movies, which I like. So it'll be interesting to see how a lot of stuff comes together. I'm also interested to see, because there's going to be another Loki.
Yes. Season 2 of Loki is next.
So is he going to be just completely on his own, doing his own thing going forward with all this other knowledge, or are they going to tie that stuff back into the movies? And what's the big the next Avengers? I'm drawing a blank on the.
That's in 2024, 25.
Yeah, but what's the storyline they're using?
It's Kang the Conqueror.
Okay.
It's Kang Dynasty, and then it's Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. That's the one after that.
So there's
Okay,
two
yeah.
Avengers movies in the same year, and I believe that's 2025.
So it'll be interesting to see how they tie everything back together.
So yeah, Loki should be fun.
Word.
If you guys haven't seen Loki, that is the best Marvel Disney Plus show that's come out.
I think it might be my favorite Marvel anything. It's definitely up there. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, Infinity War and Endgame hold a special place in my heart, so I don't know if you're going to be able to beat that out, but it's definitely in my top 10. I can definitely say that. I mean, there's a lot of material there. There's at least
there is
25 to 30 of them. So
you put it in the top third isn't necessarily like awe-inspiring. Like if you had said top 3, I'd have been like, all right.
No, I mean
top 10, maybe 12.
Winter Soldier is
that was good.
Probably my favorite standalone, because I think that's one of the few Marvel movies that it's like almost not a superhero movie.
Yeah, it was
espionage,
good.
Spy stuff in there. Like I really enjoyed that. Big fan of Thor Ragnarok. Just the way
Ragnarok was really good.
Flipped everything up.
Yep.
The original Avengers is still classic to this day.
It is.
I'll still go back and watch that. So that's definitely top 5. I really enjoyed the original Doctor Strange movie.
That was good.
Second one, I still think is okay, just not like amazing. And everybody hates that I don't really enjoy it. I think the first Iron Man's good. I just don't think any of them are great.
I thought the first one was really good, actually. The first one was really good. I mean, if you think about the overall arc that they take in that movie and the way it's done, it's pretty solid.
Very good movie. Very good movie. But I just don't think it's like the best one. It's the best of the Iron Man series. But
yeah.
Because 2 and 3 were just bad. I really like Shang-Chi, actually.
That was a good one.
Is up there for me. I love the action in it. The comedy is pretty good.
Yeah, I like that one.
And I think it comes together. I would, for me, I like the focus of battling his dad versus battling a dragon or a death demon or whatever it was. But, it's that one I really enjoyed. I know some people maybe didn't like it as much, but I really enjoyed that one. Civil War, which is still kind of an Avengers movie. I really enjoyed that.
Also
too.
good.
So,
yeah, I like all of those. Yeah, I think it's right in there with all of that stuff.
So, I'm gonna have to sit down and get the whole list and really put it, piece it together. For the Disney Plus shows, it's definitely Loki, Hawkeye. I did like Falcon and Winter Soldier, then Moon Knight, maybe Miss Marvel over Moon Knight, and then She-Hulk's definitely, or actually Wanda's probably. I think Wanda's in the middle. I enjoy the second half of Wanda.
I liked all of those, but She-Hulk is the one that's kind of out of the.
Moon Knight just pisses me off, man. So
why?
Because that's a mental health TV show versus Moon Knight. Like I love Moon Knight. Moon Knight's Marvel's Batman, and
is that not his character though? The way they portrayed it in the show,
there is a lot of that in there, but I think they went. I almost felt like you needed if you're gonna do what they did, you needed 3 or 4 more episodes showing Moon Knight being Moon Knight. Like you get Moon Knight at the very end, that's really it. For a show that's called Moon Knight and you only see Moon Knight for maybe 5 minutes, that's pretty lame.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I felt like they did I think that was more to set up his
now
inclusion into things.
As a story and acting and all that, very good.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, I just don't find. I found it a good story, but because it didn't really put Moon Knight out there, now I'm wondering what they're going to do with that character. I know they've got a season 2 planned, but other than that, like, what else are we doing? So
Showing a couple more personalities, apparently.
I guess.
We'll
We'll see.
see what the total ends up being.
Got me all nerding out over here.
I know. All right. The only sports thing I think that's really worth talking about, other than football at this point, is football, soccer.
Football.
As Americans are trying to get it transitioned to around the world.
Shut up, it's football.
No, we got
the American that did that.
We're debating soccer versus football.
It's
I was just
soccer.
referencing the meme I saw today.
If I remember correctly, and I should probably do some research before I just spout this out, but I'll spout it out anyways. I do believe the term soccer came from England. And then we just used it instead of football. And we're the ones that get shit on for it, which is kind of silly.
I like it being called football.
Nah. Let's just keep it soccer, and let's keep football. So that way we don't have to go around saying American football. Like let's not do that.
The point of what I said was, did you see the American that underneath his jersey he had another shirt on, and written across the front of his shirt said, "It's called soccer."
Awesome.
And like during the game, he pulled up his jersey so you could see on his shirt it said it's called soccer. And it's funny because I've seen people posting it on Facebook, and they're like, "This is like the most American thing America could do." Like,
I missed that somehow, but yes, that's amazing. I love that.
I'll find it. It's on Facebook. I'll find it. What am I getting?
Good old Facebook. So America won today, which advanced them into the round of 16. Yeah, buddy. Got to the knockout round. We get Netherlands on Saturday at 8 a.m. Mountain Time.
Say hi, Winston.
All right, Amber Alert.
Amber Alert. Keep an eye out for those.
Say hi, Winston. Say hi.
So Netherlands Saturday, 8 a.m. on Fox. They've got a chance to move forward here.
Even without their best player?
Pulisic said he'll be there Saturday. We'll see what kind of shape he's in. But that would be a big loss if he can't go.
Man, he had to go get his whole. He had to get his whole stuff checked out.
Yeah,
how bad that was.
Yeah, he got kneed in the family jewels pretty good on that goal, crashing the net like that. So hopefully he'll be okay. They're talking a contusion of some kind. If that's all it is, then really that's just whether or not you can get loose enough to play with it. I've had more contusions than I would like to think about. But for the most part, it's just a really bad bruise. So can you loosen it up enough to move and do what you need to do? Or is it, who is that?
Let's see.
Oh, it's Pulisic. I love Pulisic.
I'm like, I knew I saw it somewhere. I had to
Captain America.
Now, I'm going to bed because I'm sick and I'm going to bed.
Good night.
Well, feel better.
Thank you.
She got it from me.
Came through today. So big time. Loved it. Hopefully they can beat the Netherlands. That would be sweet. And then the only other two that have advanced so far is England and Senegal. And England will play Senegal Sunday. So, there's still quite a bit to be decided here over the next couple of days. And we'll see.
When is the first round start? Saturday?
So yeah. So Friday is the last games of the group stage, and then Saturday starts the round of 16, the knockout rounds. So you'll have the Netherlands and the USA will play, and then two teams yet to be determined will also play on Saturday, and then 2 Sunday, 2 Monday, 2 Tuesday, and then we'll move into the quarterfinals from there. So the turnaround will start happening pretty quick, and Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited. That goal by Pulisic was just the whole lead up, the whole flow of that possession was just amazing. McKinney put that in so beautifully to Dest. Dest took his time and put a smooth header right into the middle of the field, right in the box. And Pulisic just blew by a couple of defenders and just cut right through them and put that ball in the back of the net. So that was sick. That was sick. So I'm very excited for that. We'll see how the next couple of days play out and who else advances. But that's what I've got right now for the soccer.
Well, let's go USA. We can all agree on that, right?
USA. Yeah, we better all agree on that. Moving into football. The list of 4 came out for college this evening.
It did.
Got Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC as the top 4 right now, with Ohio State at 5, Alabama 6, Tennessee was 7, I believe.
So, yeah, well, Tennessee shouldn't be there anyways, but
well, they wouldn't get in. A couple other people would jump them in the final poll because they lost their quarterback. So
I almost feel like in this scenario, and this might be just crazy, but if all 4 teams are in their conference championship and the teams on the outside do not play another game, I don't feel like those teams should get kicked out. There's something about that of like, we're playing, you're not, and yet we can still lose our position. Like, to me, that just
there is some ridiculousness to that, but at the same time, there's some truth, because really the reason that would happen is because you would get smoked in your championship game.
Well,
so
like
if you got smoked,
but in USC's chance, I know they're that 4th seed, so they're that last one. If they lose, they're 11-2. Ohio State's 10-1 or whatever, 11-1 or whatever they are. Obviously, you can make the case they should jump them, but again, they didn't play. Ohio State didn't play in your conference championship, so
right, and that's kind of the catch-22. I've heard on the Dan Patrick Show and a couple other places that even if TCU loses, as long as it's not a blowout, they're in. The committee really likes TCU, so they're pretty much guaranteed. Very unlikely that they get blown out to Kansas State. They could lose to Kansas State, but very unlikely they get blown out.
I saw Kansas State beat the brakes off of Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State took TCU to like the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
In overtime or whatever. So, like, you just don't know, man.
No, it's hard to say. Georgia playing
LSU, who's been playing better over the last month or 2.
That's who is at 8, if I remember correctly. That's what I was just thinking about. So there's one of the odd scenarios where LSU has 2 losses, but if they somehow beat Georgia,
3.
They have 3. I thought they had 2.
I'm looking at it. They're 9-3.
They're not jumping then.
And K-State's actually ranked higher than them, and they're 9-3 as well.
You've got it pulled up. I was trying to go off of memory. I should just pull it up next time. Who's 7? Tennessee.
Oh, I don't have those rankings. I have the rankings. But
well, you got the AP rankings?
There's only a handful of games, so it's got their rankings next
to it. Yeah.
So
that should be what they're going off of, though, is the CFP rankings.
I mean, it is possible Michigan gets beat by Purdue.
No, not really.
Purdue does some weird shit, man.
That's not this year. Purdue backdoored themselves into the championship game to begin with. The Big Ten West, trust me, I'm a Nebraska guy. I know the Big Ten West very well. We had a shot until the second to last weekend or third to last weekend to still somehow win the West. So, no, Purdue beating Michigan is like, I'd go 100-1 odds. Like, that's not good.
Anything's possible, my man.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's very unlikely. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. If nobody gets upset, the 4 you have now are going to be the final 4. It'll be interesting to see how that
And
playoff runs.
I kind of want I want to see Caleb Williams on the big stage against one of these big teams.
There are people right now saying if he came out this year, which he can't because he's only a sophomore, but if he came out this year, he would be the number 1 quarterback taken over Stroud and Bryce Young and Levis from Kentucky, all those guys that are in that group right now. There's people saying Caleb Williams would be the top pick.
So what you're saying is the Broncos just have to suck for another full calendar year, and we got him.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, that's pretty much what and I haven't gotten to see a lot of Caleb Williams play, but what I have gotten to see of him, in all honesty, and this, you might scoff at this because you think one of these guys is the best running back in the NFL, but he is a mix. I kind of think of a Hurts and a Justin Fields. He's good. He's good.
Hey, man, those guys can run the ball really well. Hurts has gotten better throwing the football. I give him credit for that.
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, I said Hurts has gotten better. I give him credit for that.
I guess it's just a matter of time before you come around on Fields then too, because pretty much everybody I've been telling you to pay attention to has been doing really well now. So Fields just seems like the next guy up, huh?
Well, it's either they do, they end up turning out well, or they get injured for the rest of their career. One of the two. There's no middle ground for you, Caleb.
I mean, that's kind of good though, because I'm not high on guys and then they flop or bust. Like, I'm pretty good at picking talent. It just, if it doesn't work out, it's because their career is no longer there. I mean, that's pretty good though, right? Like,
you've got some hits in there, my man. We'll give you credit for that.
Better than missing on everything. I mean, shoot, right now, and granted it could be a little bit of the teams, but Etienne might be looking like he's the better back over Najee Harris.
I mean, that Jags O-line's much better than, and it's not great, it's much better than the Steelers O-line. But Etienne has more explosion than Najee Harris has ever had.
He looks good though, yeah. I told you he was going to be, But I mean, you already knew that, whether you want to admit it or not. That's why Zach and you sniped Etienne and Dobbins from me in every draft you possibly could.
We just got to give you some shit, my man.
Dobbins, that guy.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that.
Let's see if he ever gets healthy. I'll tell you what, when he does play, he's giving you like 20 fantasy points guaranteed.
Yeah, but that was only once this season.
Yeah, is he playing? So, hey, whatever.
Killed me in 2 leagues.
That's all I got for college football too. So we can use that as our smooth transition into the NFL.
At least, if you're a sports fan, you've got the championship games, which are usually fun. Most of the time competitive. Occasionally they're blowouts, but most of the time these games are competitive. Kind of excited. I think Utah's a pretty good squad, so I'm kind of excited to see what they do against USC. That's probably the one that would scare me the most. But
that could be interesting. I hope. I don't think, because I honestly don't know, but I hope we get the really good LSU team, and they can give Georgia a true test and a run for their money and see what happens there. Because I think that would be really fun to watch. Jaden Daniels. I told you to keep an eye out on that dude a while back. Jaden Daniels started as a freshman at ASU, entered the transfer portals, now at LSU. He's had some really good games and some not so great games, but he could be on some people's radar. I think he needs to play one more season. I think one more year at LSU, and he could really rise his stock.
If we can just keep Alabama out of the playoffs, I'd be happy.
I don't see a scenario where they get in, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't see a scenario where they get in.
I think USC would have to flop out, and I think you'd have to have
TCU would have to get smoked by Kansas State. And when I say smoked, I mean like 30-plus point blowout, like real bad. And USC would have to get smoked by Utah. They'd have to get smoked by Utah. And then even then, I don't know if both of those teams got smoked, if that would allow Alabama to get in, because they're not jumping Ohio State.
That's a tough one without any more games to play.
Ohio State's got a better resume, I would say. Their only loss is to the number 2 team on the list. Alabama's got 2 losses, not just 1. They're not playing in a championship game. Their wins, their good wins, are not as good as Ohio State's good wins, I would say. So, yeah, I don't see a scenario where Alabama jumps.
Let's hope not. Any year they're not in it, that's good. I'm tired of them. I'm just tired of them. So, or maybe I'm just hating. I'm being a hater. But I typically hate Ohio State too. So I don't mind if they don't make it either. But if those 2 teams are not in it, that'd make me smile. I'm okay with that.
Look, man, I'm just hoping like Matt Rule somehow becomes the next Nick Saban and goes from a poor NFL experience into a powerhouse college.
You guys gotta start throwing around that money, baby.
Oh, dude, they did. They did. They gave him what, an 8-year, $10 million a year, or no, 8-year, $5 million a year contract or something.
It's, 74, I think.
So he got paid. And then they increased the amount that's going to be available to his staff compared to where it was. Oh, he'll be able to throw some money at some people to bring them on board.
I mean, you guys got to start throwing some money at the players, man. That's what you need to do.
Oh, that'll happen. There's, trust me, those boosters are ready to throw money down. And we just got the new facility will be up and running fully. So our facilities are going to be one of, if not the best in the nation. So there's good positive things going. I just don't know if, I mean, Rule's known as a program builder, but he's never stuck around anywhere very long. But he's also never coached anywhere that's like Nebraska, where you could theoretically and potentially build a dynasty, like long-term dynasty. And that's not something you leave if you start doing that. You know, if he wins, if he goes out and somehow wins 2 or 3 national championships in a,
easy.
I'm just saying, if he did, like, if you did that in like a 10 to 15 year time span, what are you leaving to go do? You know what I mean? Like, there's not going to be another program.
Well, I think you could still see him. I mean, there's a couple schools that you could say possibly he could make a jump to, but if he brings Nebraska back to prominence, there's no reason to jump. Like, if
that's what I'm saying. Like, if Nebraska is in that upper echelon again, that's like the cat's meow of college football. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get much better than that. You're treated like royalty, and he'll get paid handsomely. So, but I don't know.
Kudos to him going back to work instead of chilling and getting 40 mil.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
kudos to him.
More props to him, and there's a lot of good things that have been said about what he's hoping to accomplish, and I like Trev Alberts as the AD doing things, and so we'll see. But that's kind of where my head's at right now. Not so much Alabama.
Yeah, F those guys.
I wonder what becomes of them I always wonder what becomes of them when Saban finally retires.
Probably the same thing that happens as Duke's gonna have as Mike K is gone.
That'll be interesting too.
It's just not going to be as good. Like, everybody went to Duke because of Coach K and Coach K's legacy and Coach K's coaching and all of that. I just don't think they're going to have that for a while.
Well, Coach K picked his successor, so we'll see if he put the things in place for that to be sustainable for the next guy, or if they're going to struggle a little bit. North Carolina seemed to excuse me. North Carolina's managed after Dean Smith retired.
Well, they pulled
They've
another
had some rocky years here and there. Don't
They
get me wrong, but
pulled a pretty good coach in Roy Williams, though. So
well, that was
doesn't-
after
that doesn't happen right away.
shoot. Who was right after Dean Smith?
He wasn't. Yeah, he didn't follow exactly right after Dean Smith, but it wasn't too long after that.
No, it wasn't, but I'm trying to remember the guy who was right after Dean Smith. Anyways, yes. So we'll see. We'll see. What do you got for us, sir? What do you transition? Get out of this college.
Well,
Get out of this Alabama conversation. I don't want to.
Before we talk about anything interesting that happened on the field, we've got the number one free agent out there in OBJ getting thrown off an airplane.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really much there to talk about. In and out of consciousness, he didn't agree. Didn't like what they were telling him, but there's no legal issue here.
Yeah, well, thankfully, it's a bad look for him, but it could be, as I think there's an issue with, there's also certain folks on airplanes that like to use that position of power of being able to tell you what to do, when to do it.
Yep.
And then also you being like, no, like I paid to fucking be on this plane. Like I can, some people, not me, I do what I'm told when I'm on the plane. If I'm OBJ, someone telling me to do something, maybe I'm not as cordial or responsive to that request because I think I'm better than that. I don't know, but
who knows? I there hasn't been a lot of facts come out about it, and I think it's going to be
as long as charges don't get filed. I think he's definitely fine. He's still got Dallas, Buffalo. I think the Giants were interested in him, but I don't know if I wouldn't go to the Giants.
The real question is where does he go? That's the real story. And honestly, you don't know if you go to the Giants, but I'll go play with Dayball. I'll go play for him and what he's building.
I still think right now he's going to go get another ring versus building something, which I think the Giants are building something. I don't think the Giants are a threat this year.
So I agree with you in that sense, but I don't know if he cares so much about the ring because everything I've heard reports on are the next place he goes is where he plans to settle down, family, and I could easily see him settling down and wanting to be in that New York area for after football. He's the type of guy that thinks long term. He can do his fashion there. He can get plenty of sponsorships and deals. Plenty of entertainment and everything else that comes with New York. So I could easily see him ending back up in New York. And I don't know if that's where he'll go, but I could easily see that.
Buffalo, happen. New York, yes.
Nope.
Not the Giants.
No. I guess I should have said New Jersey. I'm sorry. East Rutherford, New Jersey is where he'll end up. But yeah, we'll see.
I do love him in Dallas, though. Like being able to be in the slot, give Dak an easy guy to throw to. I like that a lot.
So yes, I'm still. I don't see him being a factor this year. I just don't see it. I just don't see it being a factor this year. He tore his ACL 9 months ago. Like that's crazy. And you expect him to get on a football field after he hasn't done any training camp or game action or even practice in the last 9 months. Like he hadn't even stepped on a practice field. So, let's say he signs in the next week. That leaves us a month and a half roughly of the season. He's going to need at least 2-3 weeks to get up to game speed. And even then, once he gets up to game speed, he'd still have to, kind of learn a playbook. So he's not going to get a lot of touches because what he does get is probably going to be more designed to look for him rather than him just being in a normal route tree and going through the playbook. So at best, he's ready to roll first week of playoffs. And that's,
right.
What are you getting from him at that point? Is it, I mean, if it's an 85, 90% OBJ and he's the third option there in Dallas, damn, great. But if you're getting like a 60 or 70%, that I'd rather have Noah Brown or somebody else like that out there, just because that, I mean, look, 60, 70% is Noah Brown's 100% is probably slightly better than 60, 70% OBJ. So I don't know. We'll see. Other big news off the field, on the field. Somebody got reinstated here just recently and will be making their first appearance in over 700 days or something stupid like that.
Possibly. I don't know if have they announced that yet, that he's going to start?
I mean, why would he not start? Deshaun Watson, ladies and gentlemen. Deshaun Watson. That's who we're talking about here.
I don't know if I'd put – I don't know. I think – well, you're 4-7 or whatever it is, so yeah. I don't think it actually hurts anything if you just throw him in there and let him see.
You're kind of out of the playoffs, still mathematically not eliminated, so you could sneak your way in if you went out. But why would you not start Deshaun Watson? Like, you traded what for him? And you paid him what? Like, pretty sure if he's eligible, his ass is going on the field and he's going to play under fire until he gets his shit figured out. All the Browns are thinking right now, like if I'm in the Browns front office or I'm in ownership, you know what I'm thinking right now about Deshaun Watson? Please, God, don't be Russell Wilson. Please, God, don't be Russell Wilson. Please, God, don't be Russell Wilson.
Well, we'll see, man. There's not been a lot of success stories from folks being out of football for, that kind of period of time.
Nope. The only one that has been successful, but to a lesser degree than what he was before he got suspended, was AP.
Well, you had Michael Vick, but that was, I think that was Michael
Vick. Michael Vick came out, and when he finally got his chance, he was MVP level playing again. So that's the best example. I'll agree. And he missed, 3.5 years?
He missed like 2.5. I think he missed 3 seasons.
Okay, that's what it is. So, yeah, that's definitely the best.
He was out. I think he was out for 2.5. I think he signed with the Eagles. He didn't play because he sat behind.
Imagine his career if he had gotten with Andy Reid or someone sooner to help him realize he needed to learn a playbook.
To make him accountable?
Oh, man.
When you hear
and then never getting suspended, think about what his career could have been.
Oh, Michael Vick's as a thrower of the football, man, that dude can chuck it.
Dude, he has one of the most pretty releases in the history. Like just a little flick, and that ball just goes flying.
I know a lot of people might not see it, but like he could throw the ball as hard as Elway, and it leaves his hand almost as fast as Marino. Like the way he could get it out, and as strong.
I agree with you on the way he got it out. I don't think putting him on the same level as far as how hard he could throw it on Elway is quite accurate. But I get what you're saying. He was, he was good. So yes, that would be the best example. Can Deshaun Watson pull something like that off? I mean, he's 29, 28.
I think he's 28.
So, he's got
some time, but that's, again,
he could have 6 years of prime Deshaun Watson right now.
There's going out there and throwing the football on the practice field, and then there's going out there and having live bullets thrown at you. And
he's going to have to knock some rust off. But I had him, I mean, let's remember where I had him 2 years ago.
Definitely.
I had him as a top three quarterback in the NFL.
He's 27.
27. So think about it. You got 6, 7, maybe 8 years of prime Deshaun Watson now. So if he can get back to 100%, he's going to light the league on fire. If he can get back to 90%, he's going to be in the top 5, 6 guys in the league. Now, if he doesn't get to there, then there's issues. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. But I had him as top 3, and it was a coin flip on who I would take of those top 3 before he got suspended. So I think he's really good.
Hopefully he returns to that form, because that would be that would be good for the Browns, right?
And they've got some weapons there.
It's hard.
in
It's hard to
Cleveland.
hate on the Browns.
He's got some weapons there in Cleveland that he never had down in Houston. I mean, Amari Cooper, Donovan People-Jones, Njoku, Hunt, and Chubb. There's some stuff there for him to work with. So, an actual offensive line. That's probably the biggest thing that he's going to have that he's never had before.
God, is that not like the biggest factor this season? Is watching horrible offensive line play.
I don't get it, dude. I honestly don't get how there's so many talented, deep players at almost every position in the NFL now, except for the offensive line. Like, I don't get how there's not more talented offensive linemen.
If you listen to like Mark Schlereth, when he talks about it, he talks about specifically the practice time. That you don't get the practice time with your guys getting hit by D linemen and being able to like practice that. He's like, there's not enough of that in the league to help develop those guys. And now you've got guys in college that really, they're doing some pass blocking, but it's all quick stuff. So they don't have to block very long. They don't have to pick up.
Yeah, but don't you think somebody would have some kind of drill that would help you eliminate a majority of those mistakes? Like, there just seems like there's more to it than just, and I agree with Mark Schlereth. Like, that's a big issue. Like, if you don't get the time together, it can cause some problems for sure. But then shouldn't you be doing things after practice where you got bowling balls being launched out of cannons at you guys to like make sure you can get in front of it or something? Like
watching the Chiefs play the Rams, it was just like them beating up on the midget kid on the out on the playground, man. It was bad.
Man, I question how good the Rams would be this year. We said if they could stay healthy, they would be okay, and they get to the playoffs. They have not stayed healthy, and we said if they didn't stay healthy, they would fail miserably, and they have not.
Their FDM pick strategy only works if you're healthy, because you don't have enough depth to, you just don't have enough good players overall when you're.
Well, and do you have
draft picks?
Do you have another year window? I mean, or is this the end? Like, did you have a 2-year window here where you could have tried to do this, or are you? Do you have one more year of this?
I mean, I think they still could be
kind of there.
It's all about the O-line, man. They do need another weapon besides Kupp, but Stafford doesn't have any time to throw. When he does have time to throw, he's only looking for Kupp. So it's really a lack of weapons in that O-line. And right now, like, whoever's playing behind that O-line has no time to throw the ball. Like, it's bad. Their O-line is probably the worst in the league.
That's not an exaggeration. That's for sure.
It's hard to watch. The Broncos O-line is pretty hard to watch, but the Rams is really hard to watch.
I liked your little picture that you sent to everybody about that Broncos idea. Cut them all. Eat the money and move on. It's better than being below average for the next 5 years.
I got a feeling they're going to keep it one more year, but they're going to get a different coach. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if we even want to talk about it, but obviously, like, I kept watching the game, and I've seen issues from there's all types of issues. There's all the injuries, but I don't see anybody getting better, and I don't see the offensive coaching staff doing anything different.
I don't think it's the coaching staff, man. I think it's the singular player on the field that is having issues, and they keep trying to cater different ways around it.
But there's different things. Against the Raiders last week, he actually looked pretty efficient until the Raiders started rushing, blowing up the tackles, and then he had nowhere to go.
Look, it's real simple, man. If you're supposed to be as good as he thinks he is, and what some people thought he was, which is why they traded for him, you at some point go up to the line of scrimmage and you change the plays every time, and you don't give a fuck. If you're supposed to be that good and you have that much tenure in the league, and you're one of those top quarterbacks in the league, you change the play.
And the problem,
he's not doing nothing.
I see him not running at all and running is what really helped make him be successful for so long, because he would get outside the pocket and he would throw it deep, or he'd get 7 to 10 yards and they'd go to the next play. And he's
So
not
you
doing
ready for
anything.
this? I'm going to give you an analogy of who I think Russell Wilson is. And I don't think there's any coming back from it, unlike the person I'm about to name who did come back from it and was able to survive. You ready for this? Russell Wilson is the commercialized Ricky Vaughn. He is no longer Wild Thing. He is Mr. Vaughn, suit and tie. Let me get my corporate sponsors, proper haircut. That's who Russell Wilson is now. And I don't think he can go back to Wild Thing. I don't think he has it in him. So we are stuck with paying a lot of money to somebody who's never going to be able to come remotely close to the potential that people thought they were getting.
I'm probably on the side of I would cut him.
Eat it
But-
and move on.
I know how prideful people are, and their pride is going to get in the way. The owners aren't going to care about paying that money. Like
The owners don't have any pride in this situation because they didn't have anything to do with him or the coach. So the owners could just cut bait real easy and say, I don't have any pride involved. I'll take the hit to my pocketbook knowing I'm going to make it up when I hire the right people and we win.
So,
I mean, they really need to hire me as a consultant because I could have helped them avoid all of these negative situations.
so it
Tell you
is-
right now, I'd have hired Mike McDaniel.
Well, and a funny
I'd have
thing-
gotten that dude in a room and sat down with him, and I'd be like, I like you, dude.
They didn't have Mike
you're a little
McDaniel on the
different and You're
list.
smart.
unfortunately, but they did have Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings.
That'd have been good too.
They had Dan Quinn for the Cowboys. And I still have a belief that Aaron Rodgers put it out there that he was going to leave Green Bay. And that's what led to, hey, we're going to get Hackett, we're going to get Rodgers, and we're going to roll. And when that didn't happen, we went to plan B, and plan B is not working out.
Nope. I believe Patton at his word. He was always on the Russell Wilson train. I believe him at his word because
I don't think you would have picked Hackett if that was the case.
I think he did. I think he thought Hackett with Wilson was the way to go. That's what I think Patton. I think he tried to big brain people and it blew up in his face. That's what I think.
No.
Move on. Move
Or-
on.
The other idea is we can keep Wilson for 2 more years before we cut him. We'll suck enough that we'll get that number 1 pick when Arch Manning's in the draft, and we'll go back to it with another Manning. You know, I'll suffer for a couple more years if that gets us to the promised land. Because I would like to get to a point where we draft our guy.
I mean,
But
we could have drafted our guy 2 years ago.
I still don't believe in Fields long term, my friend. He's never going to win a Super Bowl.
Why? Tell me why.
Because he's not that guy, bro.
No, but tell me why. Like, don't just say he's not that guy.
Okay.
Give me a reason that you've seen with your 2 eyes why you believe he's not
A quarterback should never have 180 yards rushing and 150 passing on a regular basis.
Okay.
Like, that's not playing quarterback.
But look at what the quarterback has, and you tell me how he's going to throw for more than
He is
150.
not a true quarterback, in my opinion. And I don't think Lamar is either. Like, I keep trying to make Lamar to a pocket passer. He's not. When he doesn't use his legs, he's not as successful. Period. When Russell Wilson doesn't use his legs, he's not successful. There are certain guys, they need to use their legs. And I think Fields.
What if
is
I
never
told
gonna
you
be-
Justin Fields runs like Steve Young runs?
He's never going to be as accurate as Steve Young. Steve Young's accurate as hell. Like, there's a
But-
whole different ball game there.
Fields was known for being a great thrower of the football coming out of
When
college.
everybody's wide open at Ohio State, that's not being a great thrower of the
But go
football.
look at the balls he threw. He put it
They're-
on them. It
they're all
wasn't
wide
just wide
open.
open. They were where they were supposed to be.
They're mainly wide open. So
Right, but the balls he threw were exactly where you should be throwing the ball. So regardless of if it's not like they're open and the wide receivers have to make some adjustments to catch them. It's putting it right on them so that they can keep moving with it. Like I told you, Tua was doing.
We won't have to beat this horse, man. You're never going to prove it to me. He'll have to prove it to me on the field.
That's fine. I'm just saying, like,
I don't see a competent quarterback
Alabama.
on the
You
field.
said the same thing about Tua coming out of Alabama, and I told you, don't look at how open the guys are. Look at where the ball was placed when they were open, and Tua was very accurate. Fields has a lot of that in him.
Never seen it. Tua has always been accurate within that 50 to 20 yard window. Absolutely true. But he also needs a clean pocket to throw from
Most
in order to hit
quarterbacks
those guys.
do.
Which he, again, in Miami, he got a good coach. He's got two of the fastest
The Dolphins
guys
are
out there,
undefeated when Tua starts and finishes a game, right?
which, as small as he is, maybe it won't be that many times. We'll see.
So, anyways.
And I see those
yeah.
same kind of I'm going to see those same health issues with Fields. For him to be successful, he has to run. When you're running, you're going to get hit. It's going to cause injuries. He might have a good stretch for a while. I don't ever see him winning a Super Bowl. Period. I just don't. And we haven't had a running quarterback win a Super Bowl yet. So until it happens,
Fields isn't a running quarter. I don't know how many times we have to go over this.
he's like
running
like
because
the
you're
fifth leading
able
rusher in the
to.
NFL.
Running because you're able to and have to
So,
is different than running because it's the
before
only
he
thing you
sat
can
last
do.
week, he was the fifth leading rusher in the NFL.
Right, but he has to run. Like that is his only option to help that offense score points. It's not like he has an offensive line to block for him. It's not like he has wide receivers to throw the ball to. It's not like he has a coaching staff coming up with a great game plan. So he's doing what he has to do to win. It's not the only thing he can do. There's a difference.
It's the only thing I've seen him do. So
Right, but he didn't come out of college going, oh, that's a running quarterback. Like that was never even on the radar of him being able to do this. Like if you listen to people analyze him, they're surprised that he's able to do this because that wasn't something he did at Ohio State. So I think to call him a running quarterback is what's the word I'm looking for? It's inaccurate at best because it's just an ability
I'll
he
take
has
that
to
hill.
help win.
I'll take that hill. I don't see it, man.
Let's see what Chicago does. They're going to have draft picks and plenty of free agency money.
He makes some good throws here and there. I have seen him do that, and I'll give him credit for that. But on a consistent basis, I do not see it. So
we'll see. The Broncos would be in the playoff hunt right now if they had Justin Fields.
They wouldn't have a coaching staff that could coach him well enough to do that. So
pretty much any coaching staff you hired would have been better than what he came into the league with. So it would have been okay. But again, I would have fired the coaching staff before that draft, and I would have brought in an offensive coaching staff as soon as that draft and I had a chance at Fields come into play. I wouldn't have kept Fangio for another year worrying about money. But, we go back down the road and we look at where the Broncos decided to make some decisions, and there's a lot of things. I would have picked Josh Allen. I would have drafted Russell Wilson. There's a lot of things I would have done differently over the years with the Denver Broncos.
And a lot of it comes back to poor coaching decisions.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
They keep picking the wrong guys. Elway picked the wrong draft picks.
I mean, I love Kubiak, but let's be honest. The only reason him or John Fox looked good while they were here is because Peyton Manning was running the show.
I mean, Kubiak did some good things that year, especially with the diminished Peyton Manning that we had. But he also had a lot of things go right that year as well on defense. Like all the balls bounced our way that year.
Very much so. And we stayed healthy. And
like the ball didn't bounce our way in Carolina, where Sam Darnold fumbles the ball, still gets it, and rolls into the end zone. Like sometimes the ball doesn't roll your way. 2015, it rolled their way all year.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. Get me out of here. Get me off this hill.
Let's talk. Another guy from that draft class got benched last week.
He did. And I
deservedly.
I said, I don't understand how this guy's going in the first round, let alone the top 3 picks.
Deservedly so got benched for poor play and not taking accountability. To then have like that like Mike White is like the weirdest guy where he can come out and have like a game of his life and he's gonna suck next week. Like
but let's be honest. If he was drafted 2nd overall and he had those games, everybody would be talking about, damn, this potential is going to be crazy. He just needs a couple more years.
Right.
So if I'm the Jets, why would you not let him finish out the season guaranteed as the starter to see what he could truly be? Because Zach Wilson ain't it. Zach Wilson is not going to be it. He's had his opportunity to show that he could do something sometime, and he's done nothing always.
Well, what's funny is like I remember when before the draft, everybody was comparing him to Mahomes and saying
off
that
of one throw.
And it was funny that like you'd go back and you'd look and you'd say, well, I don't see any of that, gunslinger, throwing the ball from different angles on a regular basis. And you definitely haven't seen it every game he's played. When I watch Zach, so if I had to choose Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, I'll take Justin Fields every day of the week.
I mean, let's be honest. Think about this, Pinky. And I know it's not going to convince you at all, but just try to objectively think about if Justin Fields was on the Jets right now, you have a different thought and opinion of him.
I would think, they would have him throw the football more so that we could see what he can do. I'll give him that.
You don't think Justin Fields with those weapons would be dangerous?
I don't think those weapons are that great. Opinion.
Really?
Elijah Moore doesn't want to be there, so he's not putting out effort.
Yeah, but obviously there was reasons for that. Look at what him and Garrett Wilson did last week when Mike was starting. When Mike White was quarterbacking, look what those guys did.
Garrett Wilson is a talent, absolutely. Like, I can't say anything bad about that guy. That guy's a talent. But other than that, and now
Elijah Moore's a talent too. That dude had 400-yard games and 4 touchdowns to end last season?
Who? Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
I don't know if he had that many. He had like a 3-week stretch that was pretty darn good.
But he was on the hype train. A lot of people were on the Elijah Moore hype train coming into the season, thinking Garrett Wilson was a great addition to open him up. And I mean, Zach Wilson's just been trash. I'd start Joe Flacco over Zach Wilson.
I think they almost wanted to. I think Robert Saleh wanted to.
Yeah,
I think he was just pressured to play Zach Wilson because they invested a second overall pick in him.
Which still just blows my mind. And it also blows my mind that Shanahan, of all people, decided to grab Trey Lance instead of Justin Fields. Think about Justin Fields.
So that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. So 49ers are getting on a roll. Things are going well. And if Jimmy G takes the 49ers back to the Super Bowl, do you still kick him to the curb? Like, think about that. Legitimately.
I know, dude. I know.
Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, and then another Super Bowl. I don't even care if they win it.
Sorry, I just got it pulled up. We're going to come right back to this. Elijah Moore, weeks 9 through 13 last year, and then he got hurt and he missed the last 4 weeks. But 9 through 13 last year, this dude went 7 catches, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 for 44 and 1, 8, 141 and 1, 4 for 46 and 0, 6 for 77 and 1.
Okay, so that's not a 400-yard game.
That's a 5-game stretch.
It's a good stretch, but it's not what you were saying.
it wasn't 100 and a tud, but it was you're averaging roughly right around probably 85 and a touchdown. That's good.
I still don't think they're. I think they're serviceable, but not to me. Not put Elijah Moore in that like top echelon status. He's a good
Let's see
number
what happens
two.
with Mike White to finish the season, and then that might be something to think about. Anyways,
Oh, man.
sorry. Regressing. I digress. Back to San Francisco. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do. I was surprised that they used the picks and moved up to draft a quarterback to begin with. Because I didn't think Jimmy G was the reason they lost the Super Bowl. I think there were a couple little holes they needed to fill here and there. They needed a couple more dynamic playmakers.
They stopped running the football.
Exactly.
That's what
And
caused
people
the
want
problem.
to say, well, he missed Emmanuel Sanders on that long throw. Well, honestly, like Emmanuel Sanders could have laid out and he would have caught it instead of trying to run through it and get a touchdown. If he had laid out, he would have at least caught that ball. So to put that on Jimmy G, I think is ridiculous for one. Two, like the guy's record is really good. And his numbers aren't bad. They're not going to be Hall of Fame worthy. But
I showed you that. I showed you that stat.
Yeah.
His record for the amount of games he's played for the 49ers.
It was like
is
through
the
their
same
first
as
50
Steve Young.
games or something like that. He's identical numbers to Steve Young and Joe Montana as far as wins and losses.
Better numbers than Joe Montana.
By like a game. It's
Yeah.
like a game or two, but yes, they're basically the exact same for those three. And Jimmy's shown some games where he can throw 280, 3 touchdowns and no picks.
He also has some games where he looks like garbage too. So
I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm
But
him and Kirk Cousins are very similar. And I think
when you got a good team and a good coach, you just need a quarterback that's not, awful.
incompetent.
Yeah. I think Jimmy G can definitely spread the ball around when needed. It's when you try to get him doing things that maybe are outside of his game.
Agreed, but let's also be honest. Since he's been in San Francisco, they've had a lot of injuries. Kittle's played maybe half the games. Debo's missed games.
Their running backs have just been
they've been a carousel running back. Exactly. Like for what he's done, considering everybody's like, oh, he's got Debo and he's got Kittle and the run game's amazing. And it's like, yeah, but like I bet if we really looked at it, the amount of games that all of them have played together since he's been there, I bet it's half, maybe less of the total games. You know what I mean? So you can't trade Trey Lance. Like nobody's going to give you anything for him because he's played 3 games.
You're not going to get anything that you would want.
They obviously liked him enough to start him this year, and I think he showed some things early on that he might have had a really good year by the end of the season. Because let's be honest, the dude hadn't played in like 2 years, basically. So there was going to be some rust, and I think they knew that, but I think they saw enough that he was going to continue to move forward and develop in the right direction. They would have been, I think, honestly, he would have been a top right on the outskirts of number 10 overall as far as production by the end of the season, fantasy-wise. What that relates to real-life numbers, it's hard to say. But I think fantasy-wise, he would have been right on that top 10 cusp. So I think he would have had a solid season. But now, like, dude, what if Jimmy goes out and wins the Super Bowl? Like, you couldn't move on from him then, could you? If you make it and lose, you could still be like, well, if Trey Lance was there full season, he might have been that like last little big push we need. So you can still use that. If Jimmy goes out and wins the Super Bowl.
I'm pretty confident Jimmy's gone because you're going to have to pay him another big ass contract. And I don't think they're going to want to do that.
Yeah, but if he wins the Super Bowl, are you going to tell him, no, we're good? Like, or are you going to pay him?
You're not going to pay that guy $30 million a year, man.
If he wins the Super Bowl?
You're not going to pay him $30 million a year. You're just not. They're going to move on. They're going to move on.
Move on if he won the Super Bowl.
I think the 49ers would still move on because I think they'd still have, again, it's all about pride. Maybe they should keep Jimmy G and keep building a good roster around him. But I feel like the pride says we spent all those picks on Trey Lance. We got to do it with Trey Lance.
I think if he wins the Super Bowl, they'll go franchise tag style 1-year contract with Jimmy. And because let's be honest, Trey Lance, this is his second year. You sit him one more year, a third year. You can even sit him one more after that, maybe if you really wanted to, and go the Aaron Rodgers route.
Dude,
Jimmy kept winning.
You can't sit him 4 years.
Why not?
Because then you've got to give him. You're going to guarantee him $25 million without looking at him.
Nobody else is going to do it.
By that point, it'll be $30 million because the franchise tag keeps moving up. The more these salaries move up.
Well, you don't have to franchise tag him. You can use your 5th-year option. You can keep him on a rookie deal, basically.
No, the 5th-year option is the top. They still get the top 10. The average of the top 10 quarterback
right,
salaries.
But I'm saying you can do that and still be on the cheap for the next 4 years. Well, 2 years after this. It's a possibility. If Jimmy went out and won a Super Bowl and then he went up and backed it up and repeated with another Super Bowl, you're keeping Jimmy G, kid. Like you're not going to Trey Lance at that point. There's no way.
Oh my God.
Interesting.
I just got to make this point. I was watching the beginning of the Avs game. It's the Fight Cancer Day in the NHL. And it was they're in Winnipeg. So it was the Winnipeg announcers and Winnipeg commercials and all that. It actually had a thing where this lady got chosen to be like the grand prize winner. If the Jets scored 4 goals, she'd win 100,000. If they scored 5, she'd win $1 million.
Oh, snap.
How many goals they scored tonight?
Tell me they have 5.
They got 5 goals.
Hell yeah. I'm okay with the Avs losing for that lady to go get $1 million.
Lady won $1 million. That makes me feel good. Avalanche did get crushed, but, road trip. They are dealing with some of their top players out. So you're going to lose a couple here and there. And sometimes, again, in hockey, in some of the games I've watched, sometimes the other teams just, like, the pucks are going in the net and your shots are not. The Avs actually, while I was watching, had more shots on goal, but they were just that little bit off. So sometimes that matters, right? But hockey's a long season. So, yeah, Trey, I still think the 49ers would go with Trey Lance just because of the pride thing, but Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl.
Not going to be a fun conversation, right? That's going to be a really terrible conversation.
I'm glad I don't have to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
That would be rough. I think that was about it from this last weekend. Bengals are starting to get hot, which kind of leads into this week. We do have some interesting games this week. Bills, Patriots. Patriots have been playing better defensively, except for against Minnesota, I guess. But Bills should steamroll, but that is a division game. How about Chiefs, Bengals? I guess that's where I was leading with that. Chiefs play the Bengals in Cincy.
That game will be interesting. The Bengals have started to look. I mean, they started 0-2, and now they've been 7-2 since then. So I don't think we kind of bashed them a little bit early on because we just said that O-line wasn't going to work out. Maybe we should have been thinking a little bit more of the fact that Burrow missed basically the entire preseason with that appendectomy, and he just needed a little time to help them all gel together because they look pretty good here recently.
O-line's been playing better, and supposedly they're getting Jamar Chase back
this week.
For this game.
That's what I've heard too. And Mixon should be back this week as well, from what I'm starting to hear.
It looks like it's trending
they'll
that
be
way.
Full go this week.
I think that's going to be I think that's a big game. I am super stoked to watch that.
And dude, let's be honest. T. Higgins is a 1 on at least 20 other NFL teams.
maybe 8. Maybe on all but 8.
So 24 other NFL teams. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Like, and he's not even necessarily a 2 on his own team. It more kind of feels like flavor of the day when him and Chase are both playing. But man.
And then of course you had Boyd in there, who's no slouch himself. Boyd's a solid 2.
And then you think Tony will be back? You think Patrick Mahomes will finally have all his new toys with Schuster and Tony and everybody
I don't
else?
think Tony's back this week.
Sounds like his hammy's going to be an issue. So
those smaller, fast guys. I mean,
Tony's not small, dude. He's like 6'1", 195, 200, something like that. He's a good sized dude.
Well,
he's fast, but he's not a small guy.
For his speed, though, he had a lot of stuff like that last year in New York too.
Yeah, and those soft tissues linger sometimes. So he might have had one good game, his very first game with him, and we might not see him again until playoffs. But do the Chiefs need him? You know what I mean? Like, if Schuster's back and he's got all his other weapons,
they don't really need him to the playoffs to throw that extra little wrinkle out. Yeah, Cody says he thinks he's 5'11". Maybe you should Google that.
I'll pull it up real quick here.
Let's see. Commanders Giants. When you first hear it, you might not think that's a game, but
6'1", 193. Or I'm sorry, 6 foot 193. So probably right there.
So he might actually be 5'11", and they put him at 6
might be.
Just to make it look good. Commanders are 7-5. Giants are 7-4.
Here's where the Commanders are going to go F up, and I promise you this. I like Taylor Heineke. I thought he should have had a shot to be the full-time starter going forward. They didn't want to do it. I think Wentz is more talented. I think if they keep with Heineke, they will miss.
Well, Heineke got last season. He got the majority of last season.
Majority. But they had so many injuries last year. Like, he never had the full cast going last season. So to judge him based on that and say, well, he didn't play up to – dude, there were games where he didn't even have a wide receiver core out there. That's how bad it was. So now he's got his full complements. What Wentz is there – the Commanders are about to make the same mistake that the Colts made. Oh, well, we're losing because of Wentz. No, you're not. If you look at the numbers and what's happening, Wentz was playing some good ball. But when you're hurt, when your guys aren't out there, when your play calling's not gelling, you're going to have issues. If they stick with Heineke and they don't go back to Wentz, I think it'll be a mistake for him.
Knowing Ron Rivera, until Heineke messes up, he's going to ride Heineke.
Yeah, well, I don't like Ron Rivera as a football coach. I think he's a great human being. I think he's a great leader of men.
I don't think he's a good
football coach.
He's John Fox. John Fox.
Yeah, but that's what doesn't make sense is because his nickname is Riverboat Ron because he gambled all the time. Like, that's what he was known for.
Well,
so I don't get it.
Well, what people don't realize, that year that he was called Riverboat Ron, he had Cam Newton on 4th and 1s running the football. Is that really
yeah?
Is that really gambling with a 6'5", 240-pound behemoth?
Right.
Not really. Right. So that one's interesting. Another one that's really interesting: Jets and Vikings. 7-4.
What time is that game? What time is that? Is that prime time, Kirk, or are we getting off of the regular scheduled Kirk?
That's 11 a.m. Kirk.
Yeah, that's 11 a.m. Kirk. That's prime time Kirk. Now, the Jets defense, I heard a stat today, actually. Anytime the Jets can score over 17 points this season, they would have won. So the Jets defense is good, underratedly good. Can the Vikings offense score more than 17? I think yes. Even if it's 20.
I think they have
at the same time, I think the Vikings defense isn't necessarily that great. And I
It's
think
not.
Mike White has some weapons that he can go after that it's going to be a game.
Yeah, Jefferson versus the Sauce. How much holding are they going to let the Sauce do?
Man, think
That's what I
about
wanna
this.
know.
The Broncos could have drafted Justin Fields and then gotten Sauce Gardner this year and been in an even better position with your, all-time great corner and your franchise quarterback. Just a thought. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I still don't like Fields, so I don't like that opinion. I don't like that anyway. You want to give me Trey Lance in that? Maybe. I don't know. Trey Lance isn't probably that good either.
You're ridiculous. But yeah, Jets Vikings. That'll be good. That'll be good.
It's at home. Vikings should probably win that game.
I'm going to say, should have been doing this for everything you're talking about, but fantasy wise, I think Dalvin Cook has a good game. I think Hawkinson has a good game.
Cook is
and
not
I think
running
Elijah
on the Jets.
Moore and Garrett Wilson all have good games.
Cook is
I think
not
this is
running
one of
on
those.
the Jets.
It's going to happen. I think this is one of those weekends where Jefferson has one of his down weeks. Not a bad week, just a down week by his standards.
I'll have a down week because they're going to let Sauce hold him all game.
Yep. So Hawkinson goes off and Dalvin Cook goes off.
How that dude gets away with so many holding calls, it's beyond me.
Because
I've watched 3 of his games, and he is holding.
He's just that good. He's just that good.
When you're that good, you don't hold. I'm just saying. Titans, Eagles. That's actually
you can run on the Eagles, man. You can run on the Eagles. Tannehill's been playing pretty good the last couple of weeks. This could be a closer game than people. This might be, in all honesty, this might be the toughest opponent. Actually, it probably is the toughest opponent that the Eagles have played all year.
Well, the Titans they're a physical team. So it's without a doubt the most physical team they've played for sure. So that's what the Titans do.
I could see the Titans winning this game. I don't know if I'll pick them yet, but I could see the Titans winning this game.
I don't know. It's in Philly. It is an early game. We'll see. This is without a doubt my favorite game of that Cincy Bengals game is pretty high.
Pretty high.
But this might be 1B. Dolphins 49ers.
It's gonna be a good game. You got mentor and protege going after each other on the coaching side. You've got very similar teams in the way they want to matriculate the ball down the field. Both good defenses.
Run the football, quick passes.
I think weapons-wise, it's equal on both sides. You got Waddle and Tyreek Hill and those 2 running backs, Gesicki. I think that equals out to Debo and Ayuk and McCaffrey and Kittle. I think that's pretty much a push.
49ers defense is way better than the Dolphins.
I was getting there. I think Tua, I would give the edge to the Dolphins at the quarterback position. So I would say offensively, the Dolphins have a slight edge. But I think defensively, the 49ers defense is quite a bit better than the Dolphins.
That game's on the same time as the Chiefs game.
49ers, I would say, are top 3 defense in the league. Would you agree with that?
They're at least in the conversation.
Okay. I would put the Dolphins defense right somewhere in the middle of the pack, roughly. Would you agree with that?
Oh, their front seven's not very good. It's their back end when healthy is pretty good. Xavier Howard's a baller.
Would you say they're just outside the middle of the pack then? They're about 20-ish, somewhere in there.
I think you could make the case. Well, I think if you want to make the case, they're around that 15. I think I'd be
okay.
The
middle of the pack then. But I think that's a slight. I think Tua is definitely better than Jimmy G. But I think the gap between Tua and Jimmy G is less than the gap between the Dolphins defense and the 49ers defense. So I would give the slight edge to the 49ers in this game. But that being said, I think both these teams if I had to sit down and really think about it and put them on paper, I think both these teams are top 5 in the NFL right now.
Yeah. When you talk about like the overall team itself,
Yep.
sure.
So I think it's going to be a really good close game. I think Cincinnati Chiefs. I think Cincinnati's just on the outside of the top 5 right now, but that game is probably equal basically as far as competitiveness and watchability.
God, I'm gonna need 2 TVs on Sunday.
You got a tablet and you got a TV, buddy. You should be just fine.
That's true. God, that's good games, man.
Yep, those
That's
are 2
good
really good games.
Man, yeah. That's thankfully the Broncos already have lost by then, so I'll have that out of the way. So we play at 11, so that'll be easy for us to get that out of the way and be good to go.
I've already committed myself to, and this is something new for me over the last couple of years that I managed to learn how to do. Stop caring when your team is out of the hunt. So stop caring about the Huskers early on, and I stopped caring about the Broncos early on.
I think
I've
I
just
stopped
been able
caring
to enjoy the season since then.
Yeah, I stopped caring. Who did we play after the Colts? It was right after the Colts game is when I stopped caring. So I still enjoy it. I don't yell.
I still root for them. I still enjoy it. I still pay attention. It doesn't emotionally destroy my day like it used to.
It does not affect my mood the rest of the day, which is good. And thankfully, I've got the Avs and the Nuggets, so at least I can watch them during the week and not have to listen.
Nugs have the second best record in the West right now. Them and the Avs are going to have some good playoff runs, I think.
4th best team in the league right now as we're talking.
We got something.
What happened
last night?
The problem
is I don't get to watch them.
Do you know what happened last night?
No, I missed it.
So it's the first game this year where Joker and Murray both had 30 points.
30, that's right. I did hear that.
Which is a good sign.
Yeah. The Nugs have done something that the Broncos do not understand, which is called drafting well. I mean, everybody on the Nugs minus Aaron Gordon is homegrown as far as their core talent. So Broncos have no idea what that feels like.
Eventually they'll get there.
You hope. But honestly, I don't care if they do. If that Walton Penner wants to just throw around that big loads of cash that's, far and away above any other owner in the NFL and just buy teams and win championships, I'm good with that too.
I think that's coming. It's just not yet.
I'm good with that. If they want to do that, I'm totally cool with that. I don't care about homegrown.
If we keep Wilson next year and we suck really bad like we are, we totally could go in and get that number 1 pick mode, Caleb Williams, right?
Let's be honest, Pinky. Let's be honest. If they have Russell Wilson on the team next year, they are going to suck this bad. Let's just call a spade right now. Let's not try to dance around the topic.
I still think you could squeeze a little bit out of that lemon, but I do think you're going to need to get a little more creative. And again,
Pinky, this is the question you should be asking. Can you squeeze enough out of that lemon to win a championship? No. The answer is no, Pinky.
The 10% hope I have is if, and again, the Broncos have the most players on IR and the most salary cap money on IR. If all those guys were playing, that could make a difference. So, I mean,
right, but you're thinking that could make enough difference to win a Super Bowl?
Well, I think they could make the playoffs. I don't know about Super Bowl. Like you'd have to have something freak happen, like Josh Allen blowing a lead with 13 seconds, or
you mean like Josh Allen not even playing, Patrick Mahomes not playing? Like that's the miracle you would need.
We just got to send a dude right at that knee, whatever it takes.
Awful. Oh man. All right. What else do we have for this week, or final thoughts? Where are we at?
That's it for the week. I'm excited. I spent the last 3 weekends on the road. So being home this last weekend for Thanksgiving, and this weekend I don't have anything planned. I'm excited just to relax, watch some sports. Might even watch some soccer. Who knows?
Dude, it's you're up early anyways. 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Cook a
Is
little
it 8 a.m.?
breakfast. Yeah,
Oh, dude, I'm gonna go to Fuzzy's then.
there you go.
Get a breakfast burrito and a drink and watch some soccer.
Attaboy. That's what I like to hear.
See, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You said
Make
it's
it happen.
Saturday?
Saturday, 8 a.m.
Saturday, okay. So see if I can make that happen. We'll see what
Figure it
happens
out.
Saturday. I might have other things going on. Who knows? It's a long week till Saturday.
It is. It is. On that note, as always, spend that time with the loved ones, friends, family, significant others, whatever you want to put in that circle. Cherish it. Love them. We're out. Peace.
Drive safe, Cody.